quiet, please. Because I was the one who talks a lot. So his job is just to be quiet. Whenever he just needs to hold it. And you just hold, you can't put it down. Because if you put it down, your mouth will open. But if you keep it in your hand, the mouth will stay closed. And then to the other one, what did I give you? Pray for me. My oldest son, who was very responsible, he didn't bother anybody. I didn't want to just sit and do nothing. I want to give him a spiritual task. And he will pray for me, and I could see him looking at me like just praying to God for me. And you just feel the presence of God because your 5-year-old is praying for you. But then I had another job, okay, for my middle son that will not be named marked. And what is the job? What does it say? It's a no or a yes. So what we did sometimes is we will give a little paper, sometimes to both of them, sometimes to all three of them. And we will say, okay, your job is you're going to count how many times the pastor says no. You're going to make a stick every time the pastor says no. You're going to put a stick every time the pastor says yes. And you're going to make a stick every time the pastor says Bible. And let's see who wins, the no's or the yes or the Bible. Nobody knew, right? So we're in the church, and our kids in the front pew, and they're just... Everybody, wow, such spiritual kids. We gave them tags to their developmental age. And they were completely involved. Who won? Who won? They wanted to know. Did the pastor say more yeses than no? Did the pastor uses more the Bible than the no's? That tells us a lot about the pastor. Do that homework. All right. The other thing, there are some kids that have too much energy. And you ask them not to move, not to talk, not to do anything. That is absolutely unfair. It is unacceptable. So what you do is you find something, and you just can tell him to just make sure that it doesn't make noise whenever you do this. Okay, that's your job. And he will pay attention, but he will be busy, and he will not distract the neighbors. One last thing. Remember I did said something about candy. We don't reward with candy. What is typical in the Slavic churches? You come into service, and then the babushka so-and-so brings some candies. Not 1, 5. And the child is quiet, and he's eating the candy, second candy, third candy. By the time he goes to the 5th candy, the child has so much energy and starts moving around. What the babushka does, brings him more candy. And you expect the child to be quiet and still and pay attention when you just gave all this energy. So if you can, you tell the babushka, because you always sit in the same place, so you know which babushkas are going to be close to the child. Please don't bring them candy. You can bring him like carrots, cut carrots. It takes so long to eat a carrot. The sugar levels will not go up and down that much. The worst case scenario, okay, bring them Maria cookies that don't have that much sugar and takes longer. And so do not allow external forces to put your kids in a situation where they can't control themselves. And so you will limit. Can they have the candy? Sure, remember? Yes, we always say yes, yes. But 1 a day, not after 7, and we'll put your name in the candy, and it's right here for next time. If they say, oh, I have too many candies, okay, Saturday you can have 2. Right? If you remember. Of course, somehow, all the candies in top of the fridge disappear, little by little. They just evaporated. All right, is my video ready? We are ready. We are going to learn about validation. Oh, I think it's in the over there. Yeah.
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me. And I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head. And it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there.
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing.
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
See, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See, you're
out.
not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
That sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Come on. If you would just.
Don't.
Try to see things my
All right. So that is a perfect illustration of validation. So we're going to learn, and like some please, what is validation? Validation is the action of checking or proving the accuracy of something. It is declaring that something is legally or officially acceptable or truth. When we're talking about validation of a spouse, it means that you are going to say that what the spouse is saying is truth. It's true to that person. It doesn't mean that it's true to you. So don't misunderstand, right? So for example, a Mexican like me goes to Ukraine and I see in the window snow. It's November, it's December, it's January, it's February, it's March, and there is snow and ice on the ground. For a Mexican from Chihuahua, raised in Mexico City, where people have never seen snow, when we see snow, there is an automatic correlation. Snow, in order for it to be snow, it has to be cold. You can't have snow in the heat. So that means that if we see snow, it automatically tells our brain and our thermostat to be cold. I don't care what's the temperature in the room. If there is snow in the ground, I am cold. If the sun is out, I am warm. That's it, 2 temperatures. So when I tell my husband, oh, I'm freezing, oh, it's so cold, and he says to me, oh, no, it's not cold, that is not validation, right? I don't want him to be cold. I want him to acknowledge that I am cold. Let's flip it. It won't work with my husband, it can work with somebody else. If I eat one of my Mexican candies, a popsicle, las paletas enchiladas. So if we get a popsicle in Mexico, our normal popsicles are deep in cayenne pepper. We just love that. I have like watery mouth just thinking about it. And if I give it to you, and you go like, oh, this is spicy, this is spicy. Oh, why do you pepper? Oh, pepper, oh, this tastes yucky. And I said, no, this is so yummy. Oh, no, it's not spicy. Is he right? Yes. Am I right? Yes. How do I validate that person when my truth is different than his truth, or his truth is different than my truth? If you minimize what the other person is saying, it's not just not validating, it's worse than not validating. So here is the thing. Not only you have to validate a person, but the most important thing is when you want to validate emotionally. Right? So I am sad. I'm just very sad. For some reason, I'm very sad. And I just want to cry. And I tell my husband, I'm sad and I want to cry. But I don't know why. He can laugh at me and say, oh, that's ridiculous. Just get over it. Or he can validate me and say, oh, you want to cry? You want to watch a sad movie? Yes. A sad movie will help me a lot. Do you want me to watch the sad movie with you? And I decide, yes or no. Like, yes, you can watch it for me. And the sad movie will allow me, give me permission to cry all I want for, I don't know why, but I have too many emotions, I just want to cry. And he's there. There are times when I say, no, I don't want you to be there. I just want to cry by myself. He validates my feelings, that I want to cry and I am sad. And there's a biblical support for this. I love that. The Bible says, cry with those who cry. It doesn't say, make happy those that are sad. That's not what it says. Cry with those who cry. Perfect example of validation. Laugh with those who laugh. So you're laughing and you're very happy, and then I come in and I tell you the saddest story, and I'm crying. I'm not validating your happiness. It's the wrong time to show you or to tell you that I'm happy if you're sad or sad if you're happy. What is invalidation? Oh, this is very important, because if I tell you what's invalidation, you will understand why validation is so important. Invalidation equals, it would be good if the husbands write this. But if you need to help your husband to know this, then you write it for him. So invalidation, it means rejection. It's ignoring, it's judgment, it's minimizing thoughts or feelings. And this is huge. So if I'm telling my husband something, and he says, oh, that's not that big of a deal, and he minimizes it, unconsciously, I am being rejected. I'm not being accepted, which means the next time I have that feeling, I cannot tell my husband this. How can we become one when I cannot tell things to my husband? When he doesn't accept me, but he rejects me. You see the importance of validation? It's huge, absolutely huge, that you validate each other. Many times it's the wife, but not always. You should also validate the spouse. When you validate your husband, you are showing respect. When the husband validates the wife, he's showing love. That's key. So we validate each other by saying, like he said, oh, that must feel very painful or very sad. He didn't feel the nail on the forehead, but he thought, oh, it must hurt, right? And so you just mimic whatever the spouse is saying, and that's how you validate. So if she's feeling sad and crushed, and you just say, oh, yeah, it sounds like you're crushed and sad. If you don't know any other way to validate, repeat what the spouse is saying, and this is called active listening. So I'll tell you a very good example in our family. One day, we were sleeping, wake up, and I had a bad dream. I dreamed that my husband was flirting with a girl at church. That's very bad. For a Mexican, that's double bad. So I woke up in the middle of this dream. Gennady was flirting with a girl in church. How do you think I woke up? So usually we say to each other, good morning. And when he said good morning, I said, there's nothing good about this morning. Just woke up. What comes next will make the day or break the day. What's wrong? What happened? Let me tell you, I'm really, really mad at you. What did I do this time? Well, we were in church, and you were flirting with a girl. Yes, I'm very mad at you. You just make me very mad. You hurt my feelings and my self-esteem, and I just went on and on telling how bad I felt. How can he validate? No. God gave me a very wise husband. What does he do? I am so sorry, Mina. I'll promise I will never flirt with a girl in your dreams again. Well, I'm still hurt. It will take me a while to forgive you, but that's the beginning. That's a good beginning. And so he promised. And to this day, he has never flirted with a girl in my dreams. Never. He's done other mistakes, but not that one. Perfect example of validation. You get the idea. He's not guilty. He does not have to agree with what I'm saying, but he can connect with what I'm feeling. And that is a key thing. So since I'm very emotional and I have a very high emotional IQ, I have taught my kids to have high emotional IQs. And so one day I was gonna go out of town and I was gonna teach. And my middle son, that will not go name, we will not say his name is Mark, then he was so against it. No, why are you gonna go teaching? You're just gonna abandon me. And you love them more than me. And he just went on and on. He did not, this is like Monday, I'm leaving on a Friday, and the child is so against me, leaving town. Gennady is staying with them, everything is still the same. I'm gonna go for a weekend, I'm coming back on Monday after school. My child does not want his mama to leave him. You just want to abandon me, love them more than me. Why do you have to go? Can't you just write down what you're going to say and somebody just read it? And you just go on and on and on. And Monday, he's upset about it. On Tuesday, he's letting me know he's upset. I kiss him, I hug him, and he's just like a wimpy hug. And so, but this is the my bear hug kind of guy. So if he's giving me a wimpy hug, he is telling me he's upset. And I let him vent, and it's okay, and I'm sorry, Mark, and I know this is very painful, and I know this is very hard, but mama has to go. I have to teach people so they can have good mamas and good papas. You don't want to be the only one with a good mama. Well, I just don't want you to go. And so he struggled and he struggled. Finally, so on Friday I'm supposed to go, and on Thursday night, I can hear him. In the hall, he goes to the bathroom, opens the refrigerator. I'm like, what is this child doing? But who's there? It's a kitty cat. What's the kitty cat doing? I'm gonna drink water. Oh, okay, kitty cat. Let him do what he's done. In the morning when I wake up on Friday, there are steps. He had cut steps for me to follow. So I get up, and there are these steps, and I'm supposed to follow them. So I'm following them. And I go to the refrigerator. There's steps going to the refrigerator, stuck in there. I open, and there's a note in the refrigerator, and then the steps over here, and steps everywhere. And then, Mom, I love you. You come somewhere else. Mom, I give you permission to go. Then somewhere else. And under my pillow, I don't know when he did it, he had put a letter for me to take with me. And the letter says, Mom, I am glad that you are a good mom and that you are teaching other parents to be good mamas and good papas. I still have the paper, I just didn't bring it with me. And then it says, and I forgive you for abandoning me. He doesn't minimize the pain. He tells me what he feels. And he puts $1, one of his dollars, he glues it in the paper. Here is $1 for you to have ice cream when you're away. He puts one candy. This you can eat after you finish all your teachings as a reward. So he's telling me all these things. He has such an IQ, emotional IQ, that he's able to name his feeling, I abandoned him. He's able to forgive me because in his eyes, it's so bad, I have to ask forgiveness for this. And that he has released me. That's a healthy child. If I say, stop, don't say anything, I'm going, grow up, don't cry. No emotional IQ. And there are all these feelings that are there. And he has anger. And remember me, some of the goals of misbehavior, there is revenge. Because I have hurt my child, he's going to punish me later on. So, very important to validate the emotions of your children and of your spouse. There are times when I do things in my house that nobody notices other than my middle son that will not go name, so we don't know that it's Mark. And so only this child, when he comes within 3 steps of coming into the house, 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. You changed that picture. That picture was in the living room. Or he will say, oh, you have new glasses. Oh, he immediately can tell. And I love to change things. Every single day, I change something in my house. Every day. I just love to change things. So he will catch it. My husband, I can change 100 things and he will not notice what I do. My son, oldest son, or my daughter. Clueless. I can cut my hair, I can have a new blouse, they will never notice. How can I make them validate what I do? Well, I help them. I go, wow, such a nice new stool that we have in here. Wow. And then they say, oh, Mom, you have a new one. That's very nice. And so whenever I need validation of something that I have done, and my kids do not see it, not my middle son or my, but if my husband, I will help him and I will go, Mom, you have a new phone. So if you need validation, you can help your spouse or your child to help you. Validations. Very important that you give some warning, especially when you're going on vacation and you're going to separate with your children. And you're going to warn them and let them know. We're going to go on vacation. It's going to be my husband and I, your daddy and me, and you are not going. You will have so much fun, and so is going to stay home and take care of you. Do not call your child every single day that you are gone and remind your child that you're not there. You call the babysitter or the grandpa or the grandma and say, how is everything? Everything's okay? Okay, yeah. You want to talk to the kids? Nope. I just want to make sure everything's okay. And if you go for whatever many days you go, you only talk to them the night before you arrive. So if you arrive the next day, you call the night before. The kids know you're not there. The kids get busy with life, and so the kids won't be thinking about you all the time. Even if you think that they love you so much, they will be busy with life. But if you call them, the moment that you call them, they're going to remember you're not there, and then they're going to miss you. So you don't want to talk to your kids until the night before, because tomorrow we're going to come. You see how fast the time went? And when you come from school, I'm going to be there. Or when you come from school, you're going to get your bed ready and everything, the house clean, because your mama is coming. Make them do the chores. And so something like that. So you give them the warning. Now, I want to say a few things. These are special bonuses that are for free, that I just need to say some things. So one of them is, if you took premarital counseling with us, you know this one. This is a repeat. But if you didn't, this is something important. One of them is you don't want to sell your spouse. What do I mean by that? I don't want to tell my friends of the same age or close to the same age that my husband has such muscles. He looks so handsome with no shirt. I don't want my friends to be thinking about my husband when they go to sleep. I will only use adjectives about my husband that are biblical. He is very wise. He loves to pray. He fasts. He's very knowledgeable. Because that might not turn somebody on. But it's true. I'm not faking. So when I talk about my husband is just a very wise man. And that's it. The same thing goes for the husbands. You are not telling your friends, well, she cooks so much, and she did this, and the house is so clean, and their spouse doesn't cook very good, and the house a little bit messy. And your friend's spouse is thinking, I wish I had a wife like that. And he starts thinking about your wife. So you don't sell your spouse, neither to your male friends, and you sell your spouse to your female friends. You go very gentle when it comes to adjectives. If you want to say something good about your spouse, say it to him and not to your friends. So whatever I say that turns me on about my husband, only he knows and no one else. All right? So we don't sell a spouse. You do not share problems with your spouse to your friends. So if you got into an argument with your spouse and your best friend you're going to see on Sunday, you're not going to tell her. The only thing that you're allowed to say is, we're going through a bumpy season. can you pray for us? And that's it. You will never speak bad about your spouse to your in-laws or to your own parents. Never, ever, ever, ever. Because you will forgive your spouse, but your parents will never forget that your spouse, what did he do to his little girl? And so it's very important to have some kind of mentor that is older than you, that you can actually tell, that you can vent, or you can ask for help when you have issues. So never to the in-laws, you never tell your parents anything bad. You can tell anything you want that is positive. You have no idea what he did. Oh, he loved me. Oh, he cleaned the dishes. Oh, he did this thing. And then they have this incredible idea of you just did the right decision, because if they didn't like your spouse, now they're going to start liking your spouse, because you're going to sell your spouse to your parents, because they're going to just take that spouse and make them their own child. Like, this is my son, this is my daughter, and something like that. Another one. Another no-no to save your marriages. You do not touch a person of the opposite sex. No massages, no major hugs, bear hugs. I don't care how good of a friend you were before you got married. If you are aching to give a massage, give it to your husband, to your mom, to your dad, or to a little child. Not to someone who is about the same age, but the opposite sex. You are opening the door to Satan. And you can say, oh, no. It does not matter. You do not want to go there. It's a huge risk. I'm a masseuse. I'm a professional masseuse. And when I got married, and when I had kids, I understood I cannot be giving massages to legs of guys. I don't know what he's thinking. I'm not thinking anything, but I don't know what he's thinking. So I never tell anybody that I'm a professional masseuse, even though I am. And I always joke when they say, what do you need? Oh, I need a massage. The truth is, I'm so ticklish, I don't like massages. Do not give me a massage, because it's tickling or it's hurting. And so you don't touch people of the opposite sex unless it's an old, ugly, fat grandmother or grandfather. Got the idea? I think, were there any more questions? Yes. We're trying to touch all the questions that you have been asking.
There is a good question. When is an appropriate age to bring up questions about sex and sexual development for boys and girls so it's not too late or too early? Very good question. I would tell how was my sex education. About probably first or second grade, that's what I remember, maybe earlier. I asked my question, how does it happen? Where does boys and girls come from? And I remember exactly, probably 50 years later, how my parents answered. They told me, shut up. You cannot talk about these things. You're too little. When you grow up, you will learn. That is, I still remember. And yes, I grew up. But I learned not when I grew up. After third grade, me and my friends were at the river, local river. We were swimming there, and the older boys came, and they were sitting there drinking beer and talking about sex and all these things. And we little boys were around them hours and hours listening and getting our sex education. That was my case. So what does it tell us? It tells us that kids are ready to listen and hear about it probably at the age of 5, when they start realizing that I'm different from the girl. That is the age when you can start talking, at the age-appropriate manner. Of course, not telling them everything, but age-appropriate manner. There are books, there are sites where you can learn what and when and how to tell your kids about sexual development and all of that in a Christian, appropriate way. So after that, in my personal family, when When the boys were about 7 or 8 years of age, I tried little bit to talk to them. They were not ready. The very first and deep and good and explicit discussion with my first boy, with Bogdan, was when he was 9 years of age. And important to choose time and space, a place where it will happen. We were hiking in the mountains, and he was in front of me. Actually, we were going on the path, which was wide enough, and I thought, okay, that is a good, appropriate time. We were alone, just two of us. So I started this question, and I saw that he kind of was a little bit shy, not open. I told him, okay, Bogdan, you can go forward. Here is path is a little bit more narrow. So he was walking in front of me, not looking at me. I was behind, and I was asking, Bogdan, do you want me to tell you difference between man and woman, how children comes about? Yeah. He was in front of me, not looking at me. So he was in front of me, walking, and probably it was 30 minutes conversation from me. And then I told him, did you understand everything? Oh, yes, Dad, I understand. I already knew most of it. But it's good that you talk to me. I like it. I thought, okay, son, I will talk to you again. So a couple of years later, I talked to him again, already a little bit more adult conversation. So that was with the boys, with the second one also at about that age. But the rule is that father talks to boys, mother talks to girls. And you will know your children when they start asking questions. And when they ask questions, it means that they are ready to listen to you. Don't shy them. The main problem is not kids. The main problem is us. We don't know how to answer them in the age-appropriate manner. But the earlier they ask you, it means that they are already ready. And now, in the age of technology, internet, I'm sure they know much more than you think that they know. They have seen, maybe, hopefully not, but probably yes, most of the things. So it is your responsibility to start it as early as possible. Yes.
And so basically, if the child comes and asks you, you're already late. He already started hearing from somebody, hopefully not started looking for the answers. And so that means that you needed to prove a little bit earlier. And you can just ask your child, do you want me to talk to you about dating or, kissing? That's very safe. And you're like, ooh, no, yuck. Who wants to kiss a boy? Okay, the child is not ready for anything else. Oh, yes. Mom, did you ever kiss anybody? Uh-huh. Open door. You want to know how far do you go. If you do not educate your child, somebody else will. Hopefully, it will be a Christian person, most likely no. And hopefully, it will be correct teaching, most likely no. So if you're not sure, but if you see your child a little bit flirting with the guys or something, hanging around, touching the guys, time to start talking about something. Boundaries, how guys, get girls and how they bring the moon to you so that you can, and how they flirt with other girls. And you need to start teaching your girl about guys, that they will not use your girl, even in church, because there are sinners in church, I promise you. And so it's very important. So if you start seeing changes in your daughter or in your son, you need to talk. You have to talk about masturbation to your children, both male and female. It's extremely important. There will be guilt on the guys. If your parents didn't do it, you're gonna carry guilt because you will have misunderstanding about it. And so it's very important that your father will set you free from that. Male to male, female to female. But you should talk about these conversations. About guys, so not only you talk about girls to girls, you're also going to talk about guys to girls. And he will talk about guys and girls to the boys. So don't misunderstand that you're only going to talk about guy issues to guys. He needs to talk about girl issues as well. So very, very important.